Open Heavens on the Go, Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. Topic: Stay Humble, Part 2. Memory verse: Isaiah 66:2. For all those things hath mine hand made, and all those things have been, saith the Lord. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. Bible reading: 1 Kings 21:15-29. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed, and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, In the place where dogs licked the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O my enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel, and will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city the dogs shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted, and lay in sackcloth, and went softly. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Seest thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? Because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. The message. After I became born again, I started hearing God speak to me, and I stopped doing anything without his guidance or approval. In those days, I would ask him which routes to drive through so I would not get caught in traffic jams, and he would guide me. However, something happened that made him stop speaking to me for a while. I was an interpreter in the church, and the general superintendent took a special interest in me and made me his personal interpreter. When the other pastors in the church realized that he had chosen me to be his interpreter, they stopped asking me to interpret for them out of respect for him. One day, we had a program, and a pastor told me that I would be interpreting for him during his sermon. I became angry. But I didn't object, because the Bible teaches that we should always honor and obey those whom God has placed over us. Romans 13:1-2. I interpreted during his sermon, but in my heart I murmured, How can you call me the interpreter to the general superintendent to interpret for you? At the end of the program, as I walked towards my car, God told me, Son, so you are now too big to interpret for my servant. That was all he said, and I didn't hear his voice again. The period that followed was like hell because he stopped speaking to me. I was constantly stuck in heavy traffic as his voice wasn't guiding me anymore. I pleaded with him and promised never to allow pride to creep into my heart again. Thankfully, he started speaking to me again. Pride will make a Christian vulnerable to all arrows from the devil. However, when a Christian stays humble, God will be his or her defense. God will always fight for humble people because they have acknowledged through their humility that they cannot fight for themselves. In today's Bible reading, Ahab did a terrible thing before God, and God sent Elijah to pass judgment on him for his wickedness. When he heard God's word, Ahab humbled himself before God, who had sworn to destroy him. When God saw that he had humbled himself, he sent Elijah to tell him that he would not bring evil in his days. 1 Kings 21:27-29. God postponed Ahab's judgment because of his humility. Beloved, do not leave yourself vulnerable to the devil's attacks. Humble yourself before God, and he will cause you to always walk in victory. Key point: God rejects the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Bible reading in 1 year, Acts 4-5. Hymn for today: Yield not to temptation. The Open Heavens is written by Pastor E.A.Adeboye, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. God bless you.